And so today, what we're going to be showing and talking a little bit about is these new offerings that we've got that are in the marketplace. And in response to this COVID-19 crisis that we are all in the middle of, whether we want to be or not, I think most of us would say not, there are ways that we need to have some level of business continuity and some ability to return to some level of normalcy. And that includes keeping our employees informed, in the know, in the loop, and able to do their jobs in a competent and performant way. And so what we're going to be talking about today is SparkLearn, and more specifically, the slightly scaled back version of that called SL Go. So if we would please, David, advance to the next slide. So I'll give you a little bit of a level set on what Float is and how we do our work, as well as then provide you some information on the product, including a demo of the work and then a way that you can get started using the product today, if you would like, actually. So just keep advancing here, Dave. So in case you didn't know, Float is a local business. We are located in Morton. Our home office is just adjacent to Schooners, if you know that venerable Morton landmark. We've been in business since 2010. We're co-located with a company that founded Float, the Iona Group. And Iona Group has been in business since 1984 and located in Morton for basically the last 20 years or more. We're a small organization, but we do have a global impact, and we do that through the thought leadership and content that we share with the industry, as well as services that we offer to a variety of top-tier clients in the industry. Just to draw attention, if you are interested in a little bit of our content and information that's out there, I do have 3 books on the subject matter of mobile technology and learning. Learning Everywhere, which came out in 2012. Mastering Mobile Learning, which came out in 2014, and John Fieser has a couple articles in that book as well, because it's an anthology that contains information from the entire Float team. And then in 2019, my most recent book, Shock of the New, which deals with emerging technology. Could be a subject matter that's interesting to a number of you as you transition to this new world where we're dealing with new technologies of all sorts, not just mobile and digital, but also things like augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, and so many other new techs that are reshaping how we do our business. So if you would please, David, go to the next slide. And this is my last bit of content before I do turn it over to David Kiesel, who's our Vice President of Customer Success. But we've been very fortunate over the years to be able to do some of our work with companies and organizations that have global reach. Some of our customers have employees, in basically all countries of the world. For example, with Yum, we're currently helping them. They've got about 700,000 employees globally and 20,000 plus restaurants, and we're serving the same sort of technology, the exact same product backbone that you're going to be seeing today to their entire workforce, helping them deal with the COVID-19 crisis. One of our other highlighted companies that I'd like to draw your attention to, of course, Maui Jim is a fantastic client of ours and local. We love to work with local businesses as well as these global businesses. But one that I'm very proud of with our ongoing and lengthy partnership is the Advanced Distributed Learning, or ADL organization, which is a United States Department of Defense agency that helps all of the military, as well as also some civilian organizations in the U.S. Government, to deliver training to their employees. As you probably could guess, the U.S. Military has one of the largest training audiences in the world, and the technology that we are demonstrating today was created in conjunction with work that we did with the United States Department of Defense over the last couple of years. So rest assured, it's secure and very, very robust. With that, I will just stop talking about how great Float is. I'm very happy to be part of the business for the number of years that we've been there. But I'm going to talk about the product and turn it over to David Kiesel, who's joining us here from sunny Orlando. So he works with Float and has for the last year or more, but he is located in our Florida office, which I think actually is like his dining area right now.
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, thank you, Chad. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for having us, Leanne and Courtney and Crystal. What I'm going to do, everyone, is I'm going to do just a quick PowerPoint. And we're big fans of not providing death by PowerPoint, so I will be brief. But I do want to level set why we built the SparkLearn product and its little sister SL Go. And the other thing I do want to mention before I go through the slides and level set before we do the live demo is we are offering the SL Go platform to all, really across the globe for free for a 90-day period in truly to try to aid and support those in need. As what you're going to hear me talk about as I start to talk about the product and why we built it and the markets we serve, we've always been focused on organizations with a distributed workforce. And so Yum, obviously one of our leading clients, they have high turnover, they're in the restaurants, they're not behind a computer, and so they were a prime candidate to leverage our technology. Unfortunately, there's a lot more organizations now that have a distributed workforce than ever. The other piece that we're going to touch on today is the leveraging the mobile phone. In classic corporations, small business to large business, they have not done a good job classically of leveraging the mobile phone. And, our human nature is we want to Google it. And we are used to our phone to consume information, to perform tasks, to look up information. And with that being said, I'll kind of get back to the presentation. And what we're going to do here is do just a brief overview of the product. But we realize the need. And so in the need for us, we are not the creators of content. We do not build learning materials. We don't build learning classes, job aids. What we have built at Float is a platform. And the platform was focused on optimizing for mobile and smartphones. And that's the need. With a lot of our clients and our colleagues in the industry, they would have content and they couldn't easily get it on a mobile phone. And if they did get it on the mobile phone, the experience is not what they expected. So what we've tried to do with SparkLearn and SL Go is make that seamless. Not only for you to get the materials you need to inform your employees, but also to have it act and look like what we would expect on mobile. And so that's the gist of what we did. And so that's what the solution is. And so it's really twofold, as we'll get in here and I'll flip the slide in a second. But there's two layers to our platform. There's a back end, which is a content management system. And that allows you to build out your materials, build users and groups, and then the majority of your workforce never sees the back end. That's for the administrators of the organization. And then where the rubber meets the road with this platform is the app itself. And in this case, the app that we're talking about and that we've made available to the market is available in the App Store and the Google for the Android devices. And so it's a commonly downloadable app, easy to get. Let me move along here, guys. So the first thing you're seeing here is a screenshot of what the app looks like. But it is you're going to hear from the person that's going to actually do the live demo for you is our director of user experience. And one of the areas that Float has shined is design. So we were very calculated in the way we designed this, not just to render job aids and training materials in there, but what is the human experience and how do we engage with our mobile phone? And you're going to see that consistently. And it's really about ease of use. Again, I kind of went in this, so I probably jumped ahead in my intro, but there are a couple of things. There's a content management system behind the scenes. There's a lot of flexibility, and you're going to see that in our live demo. There's also, just to touch on it, as we did the introduction, we talked about SparkLearn and SL Go. SparkLearn is our more enterprise-grade version of this platform. And with our SparkLearn implementation, a lot of our customers end up branding it as their own. So it would say Yum or Maui Gym. And so it would look like it was their app, and it wouldn't be a generic app like our SL Go customers are seeing. The other thing behind it, we're not going to get into a lot of that today, but we're big stewards of deep analytics to understand trends and behavior. And our system does ship with a powerful analytical engine, which I said to spare you. Today, we're not going to get into, but just know that this system has a powerful back-end analytics to get you the insights you need on how things are being leveraged and how things are being consumed. Again, one of the things I'm going to talk about here is simple content creation. So we're using the word content probably too much, and content means a lot of things. And what our clients are doing is it can be instructional content, which is compliance related activity, which might be, fairly a 15, 20-minute long. That's typically not ideal for what we do, but our system does support those types of materials. But really where we've had a lot of success and our clients have had success with our platform is more in the lens of performance support. So not only are they training materials, but really they're about how do I execute and perform my job. And so with this slide here, a simple content creation can be a lot of things. It could be PowerPoints, it could be PDFs, it could be videos. And we have really tried to simplify your ability to consume those content to serve your audience. But as we go through this, we do the demo, think about it in a lens, not only, it absolutely could be compliance related activities and training, but really think about it in the lens of performance support. How do I get information in front of my staff to make sure they're executing, getting the tips they need to execute certain things, and think about what they do today without the sake of an app that you're controlling and the content that you're curating. Where are they finding content? And one of the examples, not to thing is, we're going to have a reference to an OSHA document in our demo today. And a lot of people aren't on video. I would say a raise of hands, how many of your staff are out there on the OSHA website consuming material consistently? Probably nobody. But this would give you the affordance to get information, whether it's stuff you curated or stuff that you feel is important for your staff, into a single platform that they know that's where they go to get information on how to execute job tasks, around roles, around compliance activities, and so forth. Move along here. So this is funny, this slide. No, it's not funny actually, but so this deck was built a while ago. And so this talks about, while it's great when we work together to learn in a shared space, the idea behind this slide was we're not always together. Although we did create the slide pre-COVID. So this has never become more real. And really the days, at least in the immediate, of sitting around a table don't exist. And so how do I collaborate? How do I get information out? Again, I'm kind of beating a dead horse, but that's the gist behind what we're doing with SL Go and SparkLearn, is creating a mobile experience that you control to get the information to your audience, to your members, to either create compliance activity, job aids, how-tos. There are collaborative components to it. So there's a lot of things you can do with mobile. The next slide kind of pictures worth 1,000 words, but this is kind of learning in the flow of work. So again, a lot of our clients, if I go back to what we did when Yum first signed up with us, everything they did in the beginning was around standards. How do I get standards and information out to 800,000 people that are turning over consistently, knowing they don't sit behind a desk? Well, guess what? It's going to be on a tablet or a mobile phone. And how do I control that experience? And how do I make that experience easy? In the case of Yum, our audience, they're very bright, but they're not developers. They don't build mobile apps. They don't know how to do these things. And with the tools we've built, you don't have to know how. You can bring that in, and we handle through the platform how it renders, how it executes, and how they can consume it. And you'll see that when we do the demo. Next slide is just the same thing. Again, this was our core audience pre-COVID, distributed workforce, utilities, construction, real estate, people that are out in the field. And now that's audience has become everybody. Again, micro-learning content delivery. So again, our platform is highly robust and not here to beat a drum, but you have a lot of flexibility in the materials, in the content. Anybody can't see, I'm doing quotes, that you put in it, but it is about small burst. It is about micro-learning. The other thing we do when we onboard our clients, we do consult about the types of content you have. And there's some significant change happening. And the days of yesterday where I get a 10-page document or a 20-page document or a 40-minute e-learning, some of that will exist, but some of it won't. So we do consult with our clients when they move to the platform. Although we do support long-form content, we do focus our clients on micro-learning. And for any of us that have younger kids, think about the way the kids learn and the way the kids consume. It's vastly different than we did back in the 80s and the 90s. And just to date myself, that's when I got into the business. So The other piece is interesting with this, and it's one of the newer features we rolled out, is not only can you bring in your existing content, PDFs, PowerPoints, videos, but we also have an authoring component to our platform that allows you to build tip cards, flashcards, and quizzes. And this is a great way to get small sound bites to your employees and to your learners, whether you want to do a reinforcement, you want to challenge them on new promotional components, there might be new regulatory things within your industry, and you want to gauge knowledge. And this way, within seconds, you can get them a little tip.
Did we lose David?
Yeah, David, you appear to be frozen for me. I mean, I can certainly pick up where he left off and do a little bit of tap dancing while he maybe either regains his connectivity or what have you. But to speak to the difference here, and then we can actually just flip it over to the demonstration and turn it over to Evan here real quickly. But key difference between, say, for example, SparkLearn and just a simple website, because you might be asking yourselves, well, we've already got a very powerful remote content delivery system. We've got a website that's powered by Squarespace or Wix or WordPress or some other content management system. Maybe you've got a local provider that's provided you some information. Was that difference is quizzes, tip cards, flashcards, and the ability to measure the engagement of all of those, as well as do simple assessments embedded inside of e-learning content as well. So you could actually even do full-on tests, curriculums, and course development. You can measure the individual's engagement with that particular piece of content too. So if you've got mandatory safety content, for example, you can log in as an employee, and then that supervisor or manager can see that they've consumed and used that content. So if you need to provide some level of check mark, if you will, in their human resources record, have they engaged with this content? Have they looked at it? That's what this type of need fulfills as well. So it looks like David might be back. As he's getting reoriented here to the screen sharing, I'm going to turn it right back over to him. David, I was just explaining the key difference between SparkLearn and, say, for example, just a basic website content management system. If you want to flip back through these mobile app screenshots, that's great, but then we can just turn it over to Evan here pretty quickly too. So David, are you back with us in the audio?
You're on mute, David.
Yeah, and talk about the power of a mobile phone. Somehow internet went out throughout the whole house, and I'm now twinned off of my phone. So yeah, so I think really we've laid the landscape in static form. I told you I wouldn't do death by PowerPoint, even though I did attempt it. But I think at this point, we're going to open up for questions and answers. I think I'm going to turn it over to Evan, who's our Director of User Experience, and he's going to actually do a live demo for you and show you the application. Evan?
Thank you. I am going to get this set up here. All right. I believe that we can see the screen now.
Yes.
So,
Yes, sure good.
Yep.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here to demo the SparkLearn Go. I'm going to go ahead and get started into logging into the CMS here. So I've already actually put my credentials in here, but I'm going to go ahead and hit sign in. And now we've been logged into the CMS. So this is the system for managing all of your users and the content for performance support or general learning. The overall design is just very friendly, and we've designed it in a way to provide very easy access to all parts of the system. So under courses and content, we are going to we have access to essentially all of the various content types that we can create in the system. Under users and groups is where we can manage all of our users in the system. But I'm going to pop back into learning objects, and this is our most flexible type of creating a variety of content in the system. I'm going to show you how easy it is to pull text and images and videos and even documents into this very single experience for all of your users. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create new article. I'm going to choose a topic, and for this, I've actually already created a topic, which I'm calling Site Safety. I'm going to type in a title here, Safety Overview, and I'm going to choose an image from my computer. Then I'm going to put a little bit of text here, and I'm going to grab this little bit of text and make this my description. Say this is my safety image. And then next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add a heading, which is going to say, watch our safety video. And I'm going to make that a small heading. And then what I'm going to do is add a video. And I'm just going to post this YouTube video that we've put on the website before. Then I'm going to put another heading here, and I'm going to say, read more. And again, I'm going to make that one small. And then I'm going to grab a document, an OSHA document around safety and health. And I'm going to scroll to the top of the page here and hit this refresh preview, which should give me a preview of all the content that I've created now. So I have my nice, beautiful construction image, my safety information, I have the video embedded directly into this card, and I have the PDF pushed right into this card. So this is actually what the user will see in the actual mobile app, which we'll take a look at in just a minute here. So I'm actually going to associate this to a group. Now, groups are a collection of users that are organized by the content admin. Groups can be organized, for example, by job role or how your organization is structured. In this instance, I've already created one, and I call them site managers. So I'm going to add this content to that and hit save. So there's my most recent piece of content that I just created. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to the mobile app. So I'm going to stop sharing that and choose my mobile device here. So bear with me. And we'll get to take a look at that mobile screen. And launch again. All right, should be able to see my mobile screen now. So what I would do is I would open up the App Store, and then I would go to the search and just type SLGo simply. And there it is. So for this context, I've actually already downloaded the app, so I'm just going to hit the open. So we are right in the application, and I can see that piece of content that I just created. Now in the app, it's very Netflix style. It's very easy to just swipe through the content and view and discover and get kind of excited about all the different types of content. But what I'm going to do is dig into the content that we created. So now I see exactly what I created in the CMS. I have my image, my overview, my video, which I can go ahead and hit play. Oh, I have a TV connected, supposedly. Whoops. Well, the video will actually play directly in the mobile app. And then under the read more, I have the PDF from the OSHA document that I created. And I can just take a look at that, that document right in the system. So then I can pop back out. If I want to, I can just hit the little bookmark up in the top right corner, which will allow me to be able to find it quite easily next time, or just keep track of it. And then we can just take a look at this search experience. We have a very robust search experience that shows you all the different history that you went through, and then lots of different topics for you to kind of dig into, and then a very easy way for you to do a keyword search. And that is the power of SLGo and SparkLearn, being able to create content very quickly. And I think I'll turn it back over to David or Chad.
Yeah, sure. So David, as you prepare and flip back over to your deck, if you wanted to bring up just the thank you and the last terminal screens there, if we wanted to flip back through screenshots or something like that, but we'd be very happy to take questions from those that might be in the audience that might have either questions about the product, maybe its capabilities, or the CMS system or something along those lines. Be very happy to take any of those questions at this time. And then I just want to give props to Dave Zern in the audience, because he's got the really cool background. He's in a nice dusky looking forest setting. He wins the prize, I guess, for the best Zoom background. So David, did you have any comments that you wanted to add, or do we want to just turn it over to the audience for questions?
Yeah, I'd love to hear from some of the audience members on one, any questions, and two, any thoughts on how they might be able to leverage a tool like this with their workforce.
I'll just speak from the Chamber
Sorry,
EDC. We are onboarding and using it just to kind of open up people's minds of use for our Pumpkin Festival. You know, we have many chairmen, many different event venues, procedures that we are going to set up and use it for our festival, and be able to share specific content for our chairmen and events and venues and volunteers. We are also going to be using it for our Morton Mentor program. So we have content to share to the student group and to our mentors, and tools, resources that we want them to be equipped with as they go through that program. So those are a couple immediate ones that we are going to be moving through. It's very simple to load existing content, and instead of directing people to go to the website, let's host this training, let's get you to sign this document, view this here, it pulls all of that existing into one central hub that seems very easy to share.
Thank you for that, Leanne. Some of our customers, you know, I've used this the material for, as David mentioned, standard. So like the fast food restaurant example, they're using it for everything from documenting and helping people understand proper hand washing techniques to preparation of recipes. You know, how many pepperonis go on a medium-sized pizza, for example, or how to clean a fryer at the end of a shift, or how to prepare front of house for a clean shift change, and so on and so forth. We've got another client, they're based in the Milwaukee area. They're using it for helping their sales representatives in understanding competitive advantage and cross-sell and upsell. In the past, we've used some of our products with big box retail to understand availability of products and what aisles or departments they're in, as well as understanding that if you buy this particular product, you might have to buy this product, so dependencies and some of the things that get kind of lost in the shuffle when people are doing their jobs. I can speak to the United States Department of Defense. They're using a variant of this technology in an upcoming training exercise where there will be about 20,000 total warfighters connecting into this system during a 3-day exercise that's going to be taking place at multiple global locations. So the system is highly scalable. You know, it's fully load balanced. It's backed by Amazon and always available, and instantly on demand grows the server load in order to accommodate high load or high stress. In the case of image distribution and content distribution, I mentioned global reach. We've got the system, it actually has media repositories at various locations across the globe in order to get the content to people in a quick form as quickly as possible. And some of our other customers, like I said, with their global reach, they're doing multilingual, they're doing internationalization and localization. The user interface automatically detects what language their devices are using. So if they're using Spanish on their device, it flips the interface over to Spanish. If they're using English, it obviously is going to use English, and so on and so forth. So pretty robust set of features, and we're really happy to take what we've learned by working with some of these big organizations and turn it into this slightly scaled back version for small to medium-sized businesses, as well as growth-oriented enterprises. So a lot of times these learning technology systems they come in conjunction with like a SAP rollout, or they come from a big organization like Oracle, and and they're really intended to be, only rolled out with companies that have 10,000 employees, 100,000 employees, et cetera. We really have taken all of those types of commonly, used tools, tool sets, analytics, courseware delivery, and so on and so forth, and rolled that down into something that's a much more attainable and usable for a small organization and small business. So that's really what we've been focused on over the last year here at Float.
Any other thoughts or questions out there on how the content that you can visualize to move to this platform or use of it?
I'd also
Are any of
love
you
to,
already?
yeah,
Oh,
go, I
sorry,
think
go
I
ahead.
was going to ask the same
Well, I was
question.
just going to say, are any of you already using training systems? Or do you just currently, do you have training materials of any sort? And if you do, are you using a training platform, or are you simply having them maybe access a Dropbox or a Google Drive or a SharePoint server or something along those lines? Because if you haven't gotten a training department and you are like, maybe the Dropbox is, sufficient for us, the level of trackability and engagement measurement that you get here might be worth testing out in this kind of transition period where a lot of companies are starting to work with remote learners.
Feel free to either unmute yourself or use the chat box.
It is free to get started, and there is no commitment. So meaning, you can go to gowithsparklearn.com website. There's a tab that says Get SL Go. And if you go to that tab, fill out that form, you'll get an email response within minutes or hours for sure from David or someone else on the team, possibly Evan, and get you provisioned inside of the system. We'd give you a brief onboarding, and you can be up and running and trying it out with your content immediately. Again, no contract to sign, no financial commitment from us is required, or for us is required. There is a comment in the chat that said, from Clint, I guess, it says, most of our training has been desktop based in the past. And we did gloss over it. It was in a couple of the slides. And you noticed that Evan was accessing the system on his desktop computer originally, not just the learner interface, but the CMS. The CMS does have the ability for learners to log into that same web address and use the content in a responsive desktop-based interface, so it does not require the app. I know our discussion is very heavily app-based. That's kind of our mindset overall, but we do provide the system capabilities for people to log into the application via a web interface on a desktop or laptop computer as well. And what's the difference between the SparkLearn and SL Go application? And we made mention of that as well. SparkLearn is intended for the larger enterprise in general. It gets its own private cloud instance. So SL Go is a multi-tenant environment where they're all a shared URL. If you notice when Evan logged in, it said float.slgo.gowithsparklearn.com. Your organization would be like yourorg.slgo.sparklearn. Whereas if you're in SparkLearn proper, not SL Go, you get your own private URL. The branding can be completely changed, so it has your look and feel, your color palette, your fonts, your imagery embedded through and through. The icon on the application is redone. It does not have to be available in the Google Play or Apple App Store. You can distribute the application privately behind your own firewall. It also has the ability, SparkLearn proper over SL Go, SparkLearn has the ability to store content for offline use. So if the users have a semi-connected use case where sometimes they have internet, sometimes they don't, SparkLearn supports that. SL Go does not have that feature. SL Go requires you to be online. SparkLearn also has a recommendation engine, so it's got some level of kind of Hulu/Netflix, where if you experienced this content or liked this content or used this content, then you probably want to do this other type of content, whereas SL Go is much more linear in its approach to content delivery. So some key differences. I know it might sound subtle, especially if you're not really in the learning industry, but I think the key things is SparkLearn is really intended for those large organizations that have some very strong custom learning needs, whereas SL Go is more for like, you know, I'm a company with a couple hundred employees. I have some training needs. They're not overly mature. They're not super, super robust, but I definitely have some important information that I need to get out to my workforce, and I don't want to break the bank. You know, I want to make sure that it's available and easy to use. And honestly, I don't have a lot of time to mess with the system or configure it or set it up. I certainly am not an IT administrator, and I just want to get content out to my learners as quickly as possible. And that's really the gap that SL Go is supposed to fill. Good questions.
Any other questions or comments? I certainly, you know, hopefully sooner than later, especially here in Illinois, as businesses are able to start to open up and their new process and procedure, this could be a great tool to make sure that message is at everybody's fingertips and they have a quick reference, because it's going to be new, it's going to look different. Keeping that and fingertips reach to remind people and help them through what our new environment looks like could be a very valuable tool.
Very, very true there, Leanne. And thank you very much for gathering the audience today and sending out the notice to the EDC and chamber members. We really do appreciate any way to get the word out. It's not often that we get a chance to get an audience with local businesses. I did make mention that we do a lot of work. We're on the road constantly, going to a lot of conferences in order to reach out to national and global audiences. Of course, with COVID-19, all of those travel plans have gotten scrubbed. So our ability to let people know about this newly launched product has been very limited. So we do appreciate the opportunity to reach your members and get the word out today. So thank you so much. Yeah,
absolutely. And Chad and the team sent over content, and we have recorded this, so we will continue to share with others. And the contact information is up there for the float team, so feel free to capture that and reach out, follow up. It is truly a very simple process. We did our less than 1 hour orientation and got content rolled over, and we're up and going and learning. So
awesome.
There's just a thank you message out there. And
yeah,
well, thank you for joining us, everyone, and feel free to reach out to us or Float specifically with follow-up, and we'll look forward to connecting again soon.
Very good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.